Today we uncover the truth behind perfect family mornings. You'll witness a wife's routine shattered by subtle dominance. The intruder is Lena, armed with coffee and criticism. Beneath the warmth, her presence builds an invisible cage around the home. Let's begin. I stand at the kitchen counter, the knife slicing through an apple with mechanical rhythm. Each cut a rehearsal for the smile I'll paste on soon enough. The house is still hushed, Ivy and the boys not yet stirring upstairs, Nate already gone for his early shift. My shoulders ache from yesterday's load, laundry folded in neat towers, dinner's remnants scrubbed away. But I push it down, fatigue settling like fog in my chest. Just get through it, I tell myself. Keep the peace. The back door clicks open without a knock, and there's Lena, slipping in with her thermos of coffee and that practiced warmth. "Morning, dear. Thought I'd pop over to help with breakfast. You're always so busy." Her voice is soft, like she's offering a gift, not an intrusion. She sets her bag on the counter, eyes flicking to the half-chopped fruit. Apples again. The children need more protein to start the day right. I nod, forcing the corners of my mouth up, but inside the tiredness thickens. She moves to the fridge, pulling out eggs as if it's her domain, her hands efficient where mine feel clumsy. Ivy's recital is coming up, isn't it? You'll want her alert, not sluggish from sweets. It's not a question, more a gentle nudge, her gaze lingering on the bowl of oatmeal I'd planned. Subtle, always subtle. The way she rearranges the spices, implying mine are out of order. As I stir the pot, she leans against the counter, watching me portion the food. You know, Nate was such a picky eater as a boy. I had to be firm, guide him properly. These days, mothers let too much slide, thinking it's kindness. But family depends on structure, Mara. Without it, everything unravels. Her words land light, like helpful advice, but they twist in me, pitting her judgment against the simple joy I want for the kids. A warm breakfast without the weight. I glance at the kitchen table, its scarred wood gleaming under the morning light, where we've shared so many meals under her unspoken rules. It's just a table, solid and unyielding. Yet it feels like the anchor holding me in place. Decisions carved into its surface long before I arrived. My hand tightens on the spoon. Say something. Defend the oatmeal, the looseness I allow Ivy after a tough week. But the fear coils, her disappointment, the ripple to Nate, the family fraying at the edges. Instead, I murmur, "You're right, I'll add some eggs." The words stick, heavy, and the tiredness shifts, sharpening into anxiety that buzzes under my skin. What if she's correct? What if my way invites the chaos she warns against? She smiles, satisfied, plating the food as if she's saved the morning. I watch her, the distance between us widening in the steam rising from the stove, not in shouts, but in this quiet yielding. Nate won't be home till evening. He never sees these moments. And as I call the children down, the table waits, expectant, the day's rules already etched. How does this care, so rough around the edges, slip into something that pins you in place? Later that afternoon, as the day settles into a quieter rhythm, Mara leans against the kitchen counter, the morning light slanting across the table like a hesitant invitation. Relief washes over her as Nate spreads out the calendar app on his phone, his voice light for once. "Let's do that hike Ivy's been begging for," he says, scrolling through trails. "Just us three. No rush, no extras." The kids are at school, the house quiet, and for a moment, I feel the weight lift, like I could breathe without measuring every inhale. Our weekend, ours to shape. The table between us holds scribbled notes from last night's dinner, reminders of chores, not commands. I nod, tracing the wood grain with my finger, imagining Ivy's laughter echoing off rocks, free from the pull of obligations. Nate smiles, rare and genuine, his hand brushing mine. Relief blooms, soft and fleeting. Then my phone buzzes on the table, Lena's name lighting the screen. I hesitate, but Nate glances over. "Answer it," he says, already turning back to the app. I swipe, and her voice spills out, calm as polished stone. "Darling, I was thinking about the old family picnic spot. The one by the lake. It's tradition, you know. Perfect for the weekend. I'll bring the baskets, handle everything. Wouldn't want the kids missing out on that." Her words land like uninvited guests, rearranging the space. Nate pauses, his thumb hovering. "Mom, we were just—" "Oh, it's no trouble," she cuts in, smooth. "Mara's been so busy. This way, she can relax. Remember how your grandmother loved it? Keeps us all connected." Guilt threads through her tone, disguised as warmth, and I feel myself shrinking, invisible at my own table. The calendar blurs as Nate mumbles, "Yeah, maybe," dodging my eyes. Our hike dissolves, replaced by her grid of expectations. Picnic at noon, stories retold, no room for detours. Anxiety coils in my chest, tight as the napkin I twist under my palm. Why does her help always rewrite us? I open my mouth, the words forming. This is our plan. But they stick, forbidden to spill just yet. Instead, I note it silently. Another intrusion. Her agenda claiming the table like territory. Nate closes the app, the distance between us widening, his avoidance a mirror to my silence. How do I hold on to our choices when her schedule swallows them whole? The question hangs, unanswered. As the wood grain mocks me, etched lines I can't erase. The next morning unfolds much the same, building on the unresolved tension as I sit at the kitchen table. The one that's become our unspoken battleground. Folding napkins into neat squares while the morning light filters through the blinds. The day feels almost ordinary. Coffee brewing, Ivy's backpack zipped for school, Nate humming in the shower. We've just penciled in that hike for the weekend, a simple loop through the woods, just the three of us. No extensions, no add-ons. My pen hovers over the calendar, savoring the blank spaces I've claimed. Then my phone buzzes on the counter, a soft vibration that pulls my gaze like a hook. It's Lena. The screen lights up with her name, and I feel the familiar twist in my gut before I even swipe. "Good morning, dear. Just thinking about our family traditions. It's been too long since we've all gathered for Sunday brunch like we used to. Wouldn't want Ivy to miss out on what makes us us, would we? Let me know if I should set the table." No question mark, no emoji to soften it. Just that calm certainty, wrapping around our plans like ivy on a fence. Guilt floods in, hot and immediate, pooling in my chest. Traditions. As if our quiet escape is a betrayal, as if ignoring her nudge means I'm the one unraveling the threads. My fingers tighten on the phone, the cool glass pressing into my palm. How many times have I let these messages rewrite our days? The hike fades in my mind, replaced by her table settings, her expectations. I am ungrateful, aren't I? The daughter-in-law who should know better, who owes this harmony to the woman who helped build it. I glance toward the hallway where Nate will emerge any second, towel drying his hair, oblivious or choosing not to see. Part of me wants to show him, to let the words spill out. But I swallow it down. Instead, I open my notes app, fingers trembling as I type her exact phrase, "Wouldn't want Ivy to miss out." The act feels small, defiant, a record of the invisible weight. For the first time, I pause, staring at the screen. If I reply with a smiley in compliance, what piece of us do I lose next? The woods, our laughter, the space to breathe without her shadow? The guilt lingers, but something shifts beneath it. A quiet resolve, like a door cracking open in a room I've long avoided. Can silence buy this love? Or does it just chain us tighter? I set the phone face down, the buzz fading, and pick up my pen again. The calendar stays marked for the hike. For now. In the quiet aftermath of that morning's message, I sit at the kitchen table after the text arrives, its glow dimming on my phone like a fading accusation. The house is still. Nate upstairs with Ivy. The weekend hike we planned now, a ghost in the air. My detachment cracks. These aren't isolated kindnesses. They're threads weaving a cult of obedience, where her calm voice dictates without raising. How many must I note before I see the line? Where care dissolves into control. I tear out a page, the rip sharp in the silence, and fold it for Nate. Later, when he descends, coffee in hand, I slide it across the table. He reads, brow furrowing, and for the first time, his silence shifts. Not avoidance, but listening. It's always there, isn't it? He says, voice low. The notebook lies open between us, no longer just lists, but evidence. Our plans revise in my head. The hike stays ours, boundaries sketched in ink. I close it, aware now, the numbness lifting like fog from the window. Days later, as the patterns in the notebook weigh heavier, the auditorium hums with the shuffle of programs and the faint squeak of folding chairs. Ivy stands backstage, her small hands twisting the hem of her costume, eyes wide with that pre-performance flutter. I smooth her hair, whispering, "You've got this, sweetheart," just like we practiced. My voice is soft, encouraging, the kind that steadies us both. Then, Lena materializes in the row behind us, her purse clutched like a shield, smile polished, but eyes scanning. She wasn't invited. Nate and I had kept this one private, a bubble for Ivy's sake. But here she is, materializing like she always does, unannounced, her presence a quiet claim on the space. "Oh, Mara, there you are," she says, voice lilting over the chatter. I couldn't miss little Ivy's big moment. Family supports family, doesn't it? Surveillance settles in first, heavy as the spotlight warming the stage. I feel her gaze on my back during Ivy's solo, a piano piece she's rehearsed for weeks. My daughter falters once, fingers slipping on the keys, and I lean forward, murmuring just loud enough for Ivy to hear. "Breathe, Ivy. You're doing beautifully." It's gentle, a lifeline. Lena's hand touches my shoulder as the notes fade. "Mara, dear," she says, loud enough for the parents beside us to turn. "That's not how you encourage her. Your tone, it's so sharp. Children need softness, not commands." The words land like pins, precise and public. Heads swivel. A woman in the next row raises an eyebrow. Ivy glances back from the stage, her face paling under the lights, the performance fracturing around us. Shame floods in, hot and familiar, twisting my stomach. Why does she do this? Turn my whisper into a flaw. Broadcast it here, where applause should be the only echo? Nate shifts beside me, his hand finding mine under the armrest. But he says nothing. Yet. The audience's murmurs amplify it all. The recital's joy curdling into scrutiny. I want to shrink, to nod and apologize, let her rewrite the moment as her concern. But something shifts. As Ivy bows, cheeks flushed with effort, I meet Lena's eyes. No apology forms. This isn't just oversight. It's invasion, spilling into the one place I thought was ours. The act on stage ends, curtains drawing, but the real performance lingers. Mine, deciding if I bend or stand. Can I push back without shattering the fragile peace? That evening, the weight of the recital lingers into dinner, where the steam from the roast chicken curls upward like a question mark, fogging the edge of Mara's wine glass. She sets her fork down, empty, prongs glinting under the pendant light, and glances at Nate across the table. His plate is half cleared, methodical bites, but his eyes stay fixed on the mashed potatoes he's pushing around. Lena sits at the head, her napkin folded precisely in her lap, fork poised midair as she smiles that endless, helpful smile. I just think, Mara starts, her voice threading the quiet like a needle, that Ivy's recital next week could be our time. Just us, cheering her on, without extras. The words feel rehearsed, a gentle boundary she's been practicing in the mirror, away from this table where decisions dissolve like salt in soup. Lena tilts her head, the picture of concern. Oh, Mara, how thoughtful. But you know how much Ivy loves her traditions. I've already spoken to the school about seating. Wouldn't want her feeling alone up there. It's what family does, isn't it? Steps in to make things right. Her tone wraps around the words like silk, smooth and unyielding, turning Mara's request into an oversight, a small ingratitude. Mara's pulse quickens, a flicker of hope blooming in her chest. Nate will see it now, the way Lena commandeers even this, their daughter's spotlight. She looks to him, willing his voice to fill the space. His fork scrapes the plate once, twice, but he says nothing, just nods faintly at Lena's plate, as if passing the salt could bridge the gap. The hope twists, sharpens into something hollow. Not neutrality, Mara realizes in that suspended beat, not the safe middle ground he's always claimed. This is a choice. His silence a vote for the status quo, leaving her to hold the line alone. The empty fork in her hand feels heavier now, a cold weight she can't bring herself to load with food, as if eating would mean swallowing the moment whole. Lena chatters on about the floral arrangements she'll suggest, oblivious or triumphant, while Ivy fidgets with her peas, eyes darting between them. Mara wonders, in the ache of it, how long she can keep glancing across this table, waiting for a shield that never materializes. A few days after that strained meal, seeking clarity amid the growing patterns, I sit in the therapist's office, the late afternoon light slanting through half-drawn blinds, casting striped shadows on the carpet. My hands fidget with the edges of a worn notebook, my ledger of intrusions, pages filled with dates, quotes, the quiet tally of Lena's help. It's heavier than it should be, this stack of notes. Like evidence I'm not sure I want to hold. Dr. Ellis leans forward, her voice steady as she reviews my words from last session. Mara, what you've described, the unannounced visits, the subtle redirects of your plans, the guilt woven into every favor. It's not just difficult family dynamics. This is covert abuse, emotional manipulation disguised as care, eroding your autonomy without a raised voice. The word lands like a stone in still water. Covert abuse. My breath catches, confusion swirling. I've known the weight, felt it press on my chest during those breakfasts, the way Lena's smile reshapes the day. But naming it sharpens everything, pulls the fog away. Relief floods in first, warm and unexpected, as if I've been carrying an invisible load and someone finally pointed to the straps. Yet fear follows, twisting in my gut. If this is abuse, then my silence wasn't peacekeeping. It was surrender. I've watched, noted, complied out of terror that speaking would shatter us all. I flip open the notebook, tracing a finger over yesterday's entry. Text at 7:14 a.m. Just thinking of traditions, dear. Wouldn't want Ivy to miss out. Our hike erased. My voice trembles as I meet Dr. Ellis's eyes. I thought I was the problem, trying too hard, not hard enough. But if it's this, how do I tell Nate? How do I log the next one without feeling like I'm betraying the family we built? She nods, no judgment in her gaze. Naming it is the first boundary. It empowers you to share with Nate, to show him the pattern. You're not alone in this anymore. Clarity settles, crisp as the spine of my notebook snapping shut. The fear lingers. What price for voicing these lines, when even this diagnosis feels like treason against the love I still crave? But the notes in my hand, they whisper otherwise. Proof, not poison. I breathe deeper, the shadows on the carpet softening as the session ends. The insights from therapy carry into the following week, testing immediately when the phone buzzes on the kitchen counter, a sharp vibration that cuts through the quiet hum of the coffee maker. Mara glances at the screen. Lena's name, accompanied by a string of missed calls from the last hour. Her stomach tightens, the familiar knot of anxiety coiling like a spring. She knows this script. The unannounced emergency. The plea that always derails her day. Today, it's her yoga class. The one sliver of time she's carved out for herself, a ritual of stretching not just her body, but the invisible chains she's worn for years. She answers, voice steady despite the tremor in her chest. Mom, what's wrong? Lena's voice comes through, breathy and frail, laced with that practiced quiver. Mara, dear, I don't feel right. My heart's racing again, and I can't drive myself to the doctor. Nate's at work and Ivy's at school. You're the only one I can count on. Please, just this once. Cancel whatever you're doing. Family comes first. The words land like weights, pressing on the old bruise of obligation. Mara's mind flashes to the ledger in her drawer, the pages now thick with entries. Unannounced help that redirects the day. Traditions that erase our plans, concerns that demand surrender. This is no different. A staged crisis to pull her back into line. Anxiety surges, hot and insistent, urging her to fold, to murmur yes and let the guilt swallow her afternoon. How many times has she done just that, shrinking to fit the space Lena leaves? But Dr. Ellis's words echo. Covert abuse thrives on your compliance. Name it. Choose. Mara pauses, her free hand gripping the edge of the sink. She inhales deeply, counting the breaths as the therapist taught. 4 in, hold, 6 out. The air fills her lungs, cool and grounding. No, she thinks, not today. This is my time, my boundary. I'm sorry, Mom, she says, the words forming before doubt can silence them. I can't come right now. Call your doctor or a neighbor. Nate will check on you after work. Lena gasps, a sound engineered for drama. Accusations bubbling up about ingratitude, about how Mara never truly cares. The line goes quiet, then clicks dead. Mara's heart pounds, but she doesn't chase the call. Instead, she steps toward the back door, the one that leads to the small patio where morning light filters through the hedges. She turns the knob, pushes it open. The door swings wide, framing the outside world, fresh air rushing in, carrying the scent of damp earth and distant rain. She steps through, letting the breeze brush her face, filling the space where panic used to live. Her phone is still in hand. She texts Nate. Lena called with a crisis. I said no. Need you to back me on this. His reply pings almost immediately. Proud of you. I'll handle it. Standing there, threshold crossed, Mara feels the shift. Not triumph, but a quiet resilience settling in her bones. The open door yawns behind her, an invitation she no longer fears. But in the back of her mind, the question lingers. Will this no echo without shattering everything she's tried to hold together? Building on that resolve, the next family dinner arrives as a pivotal moment. Where the kitchen table gleams under the pendant light, its scarred oak surface a silent ledger of past suppers. Plates scraped clean, decisions swallowed whole. Mara sits at one end, her fork tracing the edge of her plate, heart thudding with the weight of what she's about to choose. The air hums with the clink of silverware. Lena's voice weaving through the steam from the roast, recounting the neighbor's garden as if tending it herself. Nate passes the bread, eyes flicking to Mara, while Ivy fidgets across from her, small hands twisting a napkin. Lena leans forward, her smile a polished shield. I've been thinking about Ivy's birthday next month. We could host it at my place, like always. Keep the traditions going. It'd be perfect, wouldn't it, Mara? Family all together. Mara's pulse quickens, a wary coil in her chest. But she sets her fork down deliberately, the choice solidifying like ink on her hidden ledger. No more yielding this space, this table where her voice has been a ghost. Actually, Lena, she says, calm as the steam settling, Ivy's birthday is our decision. Nate and I have been planning something small, just us. Maybe a park picnic. We appreciate the offer, but we'll handle it. Lena's fork pauses midair, her eyes narrowing just a fraction, the warmth cracking like thin ice. Handle it? But traditions matter, dear. You wouldn't want Ivy missing out on what we've always done. It's for the family. The words land like an old script. But Mara holds her gaze, the wariness ebbing into something steadier. A quiet confidence blooming from the notebook's pages, from naming the coercion aloud in therapy. She chooses again, voice even. Traditions are nice, but this is our choice. We make the decisions for our family now. Nate clears his throat, no longer the shadow waiting for storm clouds. He reaches for Mara's hand under the table, his grip firm. Mom, Mara's right. From now on, requests instead of plans. Ask us first. We'll talk it through. Lena's lips tighten, a flush creeping up her neck. But she doesn't explode. Instead, she probes, voice laced with that familiar edge. Requests? This is how families work, Nate. Loyalty, not this separation. Ivy, watching wide-eyed, slides her chair closer to Mara's side, her small shoulder brushing against her mother's arm. A silent vote, a budding solidarity. Mara feels the shift, the table no longer a dictate but a boundary, she claims. Her breath evening out as confidence anchors her. The roast cools untouched. The conversation hanging on whether this line holds without shattering the evening entirely. In the weeks that follow, this new dynamic takes root in their daily life. As Mara pauses at the kitchen counter, her hand lingering on the coffee pot as she glances toward the back door. It's locked, has been since dawn, and the blinds are drawn just enough to blur the view of Lena's adjacent house. No unannounced knock today, no helpful intrusion to rewrite their morning. Nate catches her eye from across the table, where Ivy scribbles on a notepad, her small legs swinging under the chair. He nods once, deliberate, and Mara exhales, the wariness in her chest loosening like a knot finally giving way. They move into the ritual they've carved out these past weeks. Nate slides plates of scrambled eggs and toast across the scarred wooden surface, steam rising in quiet curls. Mara lights the small candle at the center. A thrift store find, its flame steady and contained, flickering against the cool morning light filtering through the window. No grand gesture, just a spark to mark this space as theirs. Ivy watches the wick catch, her eyes wide, then mimics the motion with her crayon, drawing a circle of orange around their family sketch. Today, Mara says, her voice threading the air without apology, we decide the rhythm. Breakfast first, then stretches in the yard. No phones, no plans from outside. She passes the notepad to Nate, who adds in his neat script. Door stays closed unless we open it. Ivy grabs the pen next, her letters wobbly. Play after. They read it aloud, one line at a time, the words sealing the air between them. No silent nods, no assumptions. Each choice voiced, turning the table from a ledger of old guilts into a blueprint. Nate stands, rolling his shoulders, and leads them to the living room floor. Mara joins, her body tentative at first. Muscles remembering the pull of obligation, the way Lena's voice could derail a simple stretch into a lecture on family duty. But as Ivy giggles through a clumsy downward dog, Nate's hand brushes Mara's back in steady support, and the movements flow, arms reaching, breaths sinking. The candle's glow lingers in her mind, a tiny sentinel warding off the shadow of what might knock next. By the time they return to clear the plates, Mara's steps feel lighter. The closed door no longer a barrier, but a breath held and released. Nate squeezes her hand under the sink, Ivy humming as she stacks her dish. This rhythm, simple, insistent, holds them close, a boundary etched in motion. But as the flame gutters low, Mara wonders if it can stand alone, this quiet pulse against the pull from beyond the walls.